everyone, and welcome to Tactician's Crown 3, one of the biggest grassroots TFT lands in North America. I am Pro Troy. Join me here, CLE, a good friend from far outside the tri-state. What are you doing here, my friend?
I mean, I came all the way here from CLE, which is Cleveland, all the way from Cleveland to join you, join this great event, the only TFT LAN on the calendar, and it's just such a fantastic event. I couldn't miss it.
I can't help but feel you're trying to intrude on my space a little bit.
I am.
If you... Oh, this is serious then. Because if memory serves, the Tri-State won last time around. We had Voidsins was our main player from New York, and he's back to defend his title.
He is back to defend his title, but there's so many other good players that you might be leaving out. Like someone that we all know and love, Spicy Appies. Yeah, he's one. Ramkev, he's what is he currently, rank 3, I believe? No, rank 15. So one of the highest ranks here. So I don't know. We've got a good showing from a lot of these out of tri-staters.
I mean, you say that, but also I think a little bit about some of the other folks that are in the tri-state as well. Like, say, for example, a little known name, not sure if you've heard of them before, bossoskills. They recently had a stint, I think, at some small tournament a few days ago. Very small.
Grassroots.
But yeah, third place overall, absolutely terrifying. Listen, there are a ton of people here not only defending the crown for the region, but also just trying to grab at the crown for themselves.
Yeah, but we got some strong up-and-coming players from out of the tri-state area as well, like Minhee. Minhee, really strong player. Gangly just did an interview with him a few weeks ago. Also, one of my favorite players that I've met so far today, Joe Bookmark, Turbo Turtle.
Yeah.
He's got so much energy. He's ready to play. He just played a game, ready to go.
Yeah, and also if you recognize us from the Aegis broadcast as well, you might see an Aegis player in here as well, who is Chandler GG. They came all the way from Texas, I think, which is still kind of mind-boggling to me because for me it was a 20-minute drive, so this is a very different perspective on all this.
Yeah, it is absolutely insane the amount of people that went so far. I mean, I'm from Cleveland, but that wasn't even close to the farthest person to make their journey here. So excited to jump into our lobby 1 here shortly. It is an absolutely cracked lobby, and I can't wait to watch.
Yeah, and before we talk about that lobby, though, because we've got a few more people we have to thank really quickly, you might notice a few plushies in front of us. One of them is from Aegon. Aegon is giving us a ton of stuff to give away here at Tactician's Crown. Everyone who walked through the door was able to get a couple of plushies and our top 8, excuse me, a couple of slippers, and our top 8 is going to be gaining some of these fantastic
I got the slippers.
Little plushies.
Look at these slippers.
You got them right now? Yeah, no,
I got slippers. I got stickers. Look,
I love it. Look. Yeah. Oh, label the camera. Come on. Yeah, come on. You got.
Yeah,
we did it.
Aegon.
So yeah, it is absolutely exciting to see. On top of that too, Riot is providing a ton of little legend eggs. We're going to be giving those out through the entirety of the tournament. Check an eye out between games. We will be giving giveaways as that goes on. I think one happened a little before we went live. So please, if you are not in our Discord server, please join Tri-State Tactics. There should be a link going on in the chat. Please keep an eye out for it.
Yep.
When you do, there is a giveaways channel. Periodically, we're going to be giving away, I think, 5 codes at a time per raffle. Something ridiculous like that.
So many eggs. And I just recently realized how expensive those eggs are. And so these are this prize is pretty good.
One code. To be fair, we're giving away 1 code per person. Each code is good for 10 eggs.
Great.
It is. You want to start rolling for a new little legend or something?
Yeah.
That's going to be a good thing to do. I mean, I'm happy with my Pengu that I have right over there. But, you know, if you want to shake things up a little bit, look for something new, I mean, that's a good way to do it.
Yeah, maybe you high roll and get one of those Chibi Annies or something like that. All those ones that everyone loves. But
everyone wants to win by cutscene. It's a very important thing.
Dies of cutscene is the worst.
It is the worst. But for now, though, we still got a lot of life left in these lobbies right now. Let's take a look a little bit at what we're going to be doing here for Game 1. And there's some pretty terrifying talent in here. We already mentioned the fact that bossoskills in this tournament, we're going to see them from the get-go here in Game 1. But beyond that, too, what's going on here?
And in this LAN, you mean?
In this LAN, I mean, in this lobby.
Every computer is filled. Everyone is ready to go. The lobbies will be starting here soon, and we'll be jumping straight into our lobby E here, which does have bossoskills, Drowned God, in the Cypher, Minhee, Poppin, all these great players.
Every storyline we talked about, it's almost like we set this up a little bit.
You told me it's scripted?
No, I'm not telling you it's scripted.
You didn't leak the script?
No, I didn't do anything like that.
No script whatsoever.
Hide this over here. Can't see that. And yeah, no, it's fine. We're completely off the cuff. You don't know what we're gonna say.
Yeah.
But then again, could this whole monologue be scripted? That is the secret.
The world may never know.
The world may never know.
But you know what we do know?
What?
We're getting ready to roll.
Yes.
The energy in here is absolutely electric. The TFT LAN with 40 computers filled up with people all jumping into lobbies ready to play some TFT next to one another. I was talking to someone earlier, which I do see some games getting started, and they're like, can I pull up Appy's stream if I want? But as we hop onto the carousel, ready to go for game one on board with Mega Base Man.
Yeah, and let me also say really quickly, too, a LAN environment is very different from what we usually see in TFT. Both of us do a lot of remote work in general, but a LAN is just generally an entirely different beast. You might hear players, as we're commentating, start freaking out, see crazy things. If you watch the VODs from TC2, you're going to hear Ramkev scream quite a bit just when cool things happen. So please, do keep an ear out. There's going to be a lot of stuff going on through the day.
There's going to be so much happening, and so many of these players I mean, admittedly, haven't played much of this patch.
Not at all.
So this is the very final patch of Set 8, with Set 8.5 already being released on PBE. So it will be something for us to chat about, to talk about, because not many of these players are really climbing this patch and grinding.
Oh, no, certainly. Look at some of the people who are big streamers like Spicy Appies. They are doing a lot of viewer games on 8.5. Everyone's trying to grind to find that next big strategy that can get things going. However, as a result, some of the little details could be missed out here when they're trying to play here. One thing I want to keep a special eye out, actually, is Underground. We see 2 of these kills already picked up by the Drown God. A lot of the gold game from Underground was dropped across the board early on at the very least. So that traditional style of going, let's go 1 Underground, 2 Underground, and then cash out, that could be a little bit riskier or less payoff.
It definitely is, because you have to go to those 4 or 5 cash out marks. That's where you get start to get more of the value there. I mean, 1 cash out's still pretty good at 8 gold. You know, it was at 11 value. But now it's just not quite as good.
But you tell me you feel good when you get your first cash out and your prize is a cloak?
I mean, it doesn't feel good.
I mean,
but,
it doesn't.
You know, it's worse than not having a cloak, you know?
I guess so.
But we will be seeing our first augment choice here being that gold augment. We're on board with Drowned God, who's making this first choice. Does go for the Battle Mage, has a tier on bench. What are you expecting to see with this Battle Mage picked up?
It might be one of the last hurrahs of the Yuumi composition.
It could
Remember,
be.
This is one of those comps that's going to be leaving out of the way as 8 turns to 8.5. So seeing any kind of last hurrah is something we're probably going to get to do today.
Yep.
Generally, this is a very strong comp, especially when it's given augments. But remember, there has been some nerfs on this patch that people have been mindful of. We saw during Golden Spatula Cup yesterday, a player went for a Yuumi comp, did a pretty good job of it, but still weren't able to hit the Nyla, still ended up in a 8th pace position. So you can hit, you can find the stars, but if you're not going to hit early enough, you're not going to go too far.
Yeah, and especially with Nyla being a little bit nerfed, it is much more difficult. On the other side here, we do see Poppin taking that Ornn item Anvil, getting that Armor Shred and MR Shred item, which is just so good on a lot of these AD item holders.
It's not even just AD item holders, too. Obsidian Cleaver is awesome on anyone that deals big AoE damage. That Shred applies to everything that is hit. So as a result, this does give Poppin a lot of different options. I think traditionally, just by the virtue of how a lot of these comps have shaken out, it usually just becomes a Samira replacement for something like the Last Whisper.
Yep.
But still, though, a lot of different pathways this can go down. We'll have to see which way Poppin does decide to go.
So let's start talking a little bit more about some of our players, because all of these players are absolutely cracked at this game. They all drove here, some from super far out of the tri-state area, to compete in this event. Who is somebody that you're looking forward to watching?
Well, let me tell you, I am absolutely ecstatic to be able to talk about Bosso. It is insane to be able to see their play coming off of so close after the mid-set. From there as well, though, I mean, we're seeing some return of some big favorites from last time around. Drown God was exciting to watch. I also want to see how StellarMinhee does as someone who's coming up in the TFT scene. Amazing stuff to watch. Also, Pizanka doing something that we really do highly encourage. Do make sure you check your admin early on, just in case you see that pivot you want to go down.
Absolutely. Does have that Oxforce crown as well, which is just so strong if you can get to 6 or 8 Oxforce playing one of these comps that isn't super contested right now, being that Viego. Someone that I'm really looking forward to seeing, as they are an out-of-tri-state representative, you touched on a little bit, is Minhee. Really part of that new guard of TFT, just coming up and absolutely excelling in some of these tournaments. Has played in the last 2 mid-set events and just all of the Riot tournaments that he could play in.
And I mean, this is a great way to further prove yourself, too, because LAN tournaments, very different from remote tournaments. You can't exactly walk away, go to your kitchen, get a snack after you lose. You have to still sit here, go, okay, I have to wait, watch all these other players pop off, and just suffer in silence. And that can be a big game changer for some players. It all honestly could be dependent on their outlook.
Yeah, it definitely could be, and it is very interesting here on board with Stellar, who has this early Gadgeteen start, has this early Spellslinger as well. Jewel Lotus being excellent for all of these AP different champions.
Yeah, and it's incredibly flexible too. Remember, Jewel Lotus is just your ability can crit. That's not exactly, hey, that means you should be running an AP composition.
Right.
It's been a very popular thing with Sure Shots because everything seems like has been something that players have been trying to run with Sure Shots for this entire patch. So there's a lot of different ways that it can materialize. Excuse me.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to keep our eye on throughout the game to see if they will stick with this AP tree or go AD, but I'm assuming here with Ionic Spark Slammed as well as a tier on bench that will be where they're headed.
I think that was the Gadgeteen Spark, so I could be a little bit...
I think they had both.
They had both. That's a lot of sparks.
That's a lot of spark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sparks will fly.
Sparks will fly, and you know what sparks create? Electricity. And you know what's in here? It's electric in here. It is so fun to be on LAN with you.
Listen, I have been your mentor for a long time in TFT space.
How was that?
I have never been more proud.
Thank you.
Never. That was an amazing series of puns, transitions, beautiful. But we now need to see which champions are going to be picked up on this next carousel. StellarMinhee starting out pretty strong with that tier. Again, we were talking about how the AP tree is something that's been heavily prioritized in this patch, but another thing I do want to highlight is the fact that we don't see anyone really starting to break away from the pack in these losses. Minhee and Pazanka being at the bottom of the table, 7th and 8th place, both still have 88 HP. We don't really see anyone beginning to bottom out.
Well, Stellar's now picked up that second tier, which will make that blue buff, which is just absolutely crucial to this comp if you want to have that Zoe succeed. So it will be really fun to keep an eye out to see. I'm sure he'll slam this right away, right? Just slam it right on to that LeBlanc to absolutely push the tempo, especially because he doesn't have a loss streak going.
Well, they could look for one, though, because they did lose the last game. They want to try to get some kind of streak going into the Krug round. So it would make sense if they want to try to hold on to it as a result. I think that's what this scouting is actually for, too, because they're trying to say, listen, I want to make sure that I'm losing, but I also need to make sure I'm not losing by an absolute ton. These little adaptations are the ways that you can preserve your health while still, again, trying to go through. And oh, my goodness, that is an early Sona. You know what that means? We got some underground going on here.
We have some underground gaming in the Cypher, being that person who now has that, also has Jewel Lotus, so we're seeing Jewel Lotus mirror matchup here. So that will be extremely scary if they can get to those higher cast outs. It also looks like they are winning generally as well, so keeping the HP high, allowing them to get to those further cash outs is going to be very important.
Yeah, I got to say, I'm always terrified when I see LeBlanc in these early situations because that extra orb on those resets can do a lot more work than people think. And as a result of that, especially when you're at times trying to root against your team just so you can maintain that loss streak, it gets a little bit nerve-wracking that you can get griefed.
Yeah, and I would like to check out Drown God's spot here shortly. Being at 100 HP, still win streaking at the top of the lobby, so has a lot of econ for their side, able to continue to make that into, I believe I saw Heartboard, so interested to see what that is.
Yeah, I saw Heartboard. I also saw some Gadgeteen going on there, at least with a Poppy being 2-star, which is still a phenomenal early 2-star unit on its own. Remember, the early game is so predominantly AD-based. Poppy gets a lot of armor through Defender and just innately as well. So because of that, that is going to be a very excellent start here. Kodo, meanwhile, is going for something that I think a few players might be interested in, that Renegade start.
Yeah, Renegade start being one that you can just absolutely push into the late game with that Viego, who will just absolutely reset if you can get the correct items on there. But it hasn't been something that has, right now, been able to win many lobbies. It's something that will give you a top 4, but unless you hit something crazy like 6 Renegade or, you know, Leona 2 or a 3-star Viego, not something that's going to cap out possibly in first place.
And unfortunately for Stellar, the streak has ended. They are going to get a win here. Still, though, their econ is going to be okay. They're going to be entering this Krug round 30 gold, level 5, not the worst. However, you still want to be building up that kind of economic advantage because otherwise, in the Cypher, Drown God can be looking to run away with this. That is a beefy show. Look at that.
And Drown God does take the loss to bossoskills there, so Drown God will be losing their streak. So econ will be much more difficult for them into this first neutral round.
But in the Cypher, still going, has a very terrifying board just with that early buy to a great frontliner. Was nerfed very slightly on this patch, but still, I don't think there's any dispute that they're a phenomenal unit.
No. And I do want to call out some of these other players that we're looking at. Pazanka specifically was somebody that was at TC2.
Yep.
They were able to get 5th place, which is good. They got some money, got to walk away from that. But they're also rank 1 in this preliminary round, which is the first 3 games. So they really perform well on these LAN tournaments and have shown that really well, even though they're maybe not the best player.
Yeah. it's going to be absolutely insane to see. Drown God, like I said, also came to previous Tactician Crowns events as well. So, again, it's a great first lobby because we get this nice mixture of people who are new to the event, had returning favorites, are new to the tri-state, just generally playing in these kinds of events. This is going to be absolutely amazing to watch.
Yeah, and in the Cypher, being someone that personally I couldn't find out much about. I didn't see a ton of history about them, but what I did see was that this account they're playing on, this is the only set they've played. And they're currently GM. So either they're super correct at the game very quickly, or this is a fresh account, which I think is more likely.
Yeah.
But either way, they're still doing super well in this lobby now on a win streak through neutrals.
I mean, hey, and again, they got the board too. Usually people think of Underground as this very early on board just because, again, all those units are a little bit weaker to offset the fact they can give you that great economic power. But if you can get those early 2 stars, and if the rest of the lobby strength is relatively weak, you can still sneak out a couple of wins here and there.
Absolutely, and we do see a couple of super interesting boards coming through here. This Gadgeteen crest on bossoskills stream, it doesn't say it in the bottom right corner, but this is Bosso's perspective. Gadgeteen crest being super, super good in the meta right now.
Yeah, and usually that can be on a lot of things that are more in the mecha compartment, but even then, you can see a lot of threats make excellent use out of it. We previously saw Cho'Gath. It has moved over to Rammus just because, again, early game armor is just much better than magic resist, just about the damage distribution that's being taken out. It is a pretty insane thing to say nothing of the fact that when you're talking about later in the game, you want to go to Gadgeteen 5. Wait a minute, we got a few hero augments.
We do. We have a 3-3-4, and Bosso finds exactly what he's looking for, wanting to make that Gadgeteen mech, now able to find a set on the augment choice. So this will be super good for them, wanting to make that BT Titans Gadgeteen crown. Oh, here it comes, man. This is so good.
Yeah, and we saw this a little bit in other tournaments as well. I believe it showed up in mid-set. We saw it in GSC, I believe, earlier today, if memory is serving me correctly.
Yep.
This is absolutely insane. Regenerative Shields works with every kind of shield that you can find, be it a Bloodthirster shield, be it Set's innate wind-up that you get. All those things together make him incredibly beefy.
Yeah, and already has 5 Gadgeteen on the board. Just needs to level to level 7 to get mech in as well. 3 Defender, 5 Gadgeteen. This board will start to do crazy amounts of damage.
Yeah, and we'll have to see how this is going to do against Mega Bassman, who, again, remember, this is still a lot of 1-stars, so there is a lot of room against a leveled-up board.
And I believe this is Make It Rain here, the Misfortune Augment that grants a lot of gold. So Mega Bassman will not be super strong right now, but as the game goes along and they get a bunch of gold influxed into their pockets, it's going to be incredibly terrifying.
Remember, though, this is still a Make It Rain at free 2. That was one of those traits, excuse me, one of those augments that was shifted around a little bit to be a little bit weaker when offered earlier. It's a great transition all around. It's not going to be as strong, but still, money's money.
It is. Money is money and will absolutely help them scale into the late game. Maybe even better than a lot of them, but at 63 HP in the bottom right corner, you see, could be a little scary.
Yeah, and again, we always talk about how TFT is a game where you're trying to manage both your gold economy and your health economy. And granted, you can spend a lot of that health early in order to get gold advantages, press levels, find those late game units to get that board strength up. But you can just as easily start to spiral, begin a tailspin, and just crash and burn before you can get anything you want achieved.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do want to call out, a lot of the people in this lobby are playing this Gadgeteen route. There's a lot of people wanting this Zoe. There's a lot of people playing this AP tree. StellarMinhee on board here will take super size with Zach. Not sure what happened. Obviously, probably not exactly what they want, but it is absolutely crucial for these units to have incredible frontline, and this just is raw HP.
I mean, I was going to say, I see a big frontline tank. I see a lot of items that want to stall. I see a Zoe that wants to, again, stall as much as possible. So this is nothing but good here for Stellar. And another big thing to mention is, like we said, a lot of people are going to be contesting Gadgeteen. Zoe is going to be one of those focused units. The fact that we have already a Zoe 2 for Stellar, maybe they can't try to go deeper, go for that Zoe free full reroll. However, they can still get some good stuff going, knowing they have that 2-star power before anyone else, I think, in this lobby.
Yeah, curious to see where this board ends up. I think they're still continuing to remain flexible. Jewel Lotus, Supersize being excellent things to pivot around.
Yeah, and also, I mean, this just means I want to see as many Warmogs on the Zac as possible. Get double Warmogs, some Titans Resolves, make it one big beefy Zac.
I need all of the HP. And I want to call out as we go into this first carousel that this is so funny. I see like Joe Bookmark and some other people running around in IRL scouting, not even sitting at their desk. They're just walking around and looking at their competitors' screens.
Yeah, I mean, listen, why are you going to waste any kind of that wrist motion that you have as a professional? Like, you got to take care of your hands and wrist when you are an esports player. Why waste it? Like, just give your legs a bit of a stretch, you know?
It's absolutely fantastic. I love seeing it. Just have a big smile on my face watching that. We're on board, though, with Stellar still, who has this really beefy front line. Now,
I'm sorry I put that word in your head. We'll get it out soon.
This beefy word means to get out of my head, man. Oh, man. I'm just so curious to see where this will end up. Will this be a Soraka with the new buffed Archangels as well being slammed?
Yeah, that's actually a really important thing to note. Archangels has received a little bit of extra starting mana, and as a result of that, sorry, I saw Ramkev freak out. So it's not in this game, but you're going to keep seeing reactions like that through the day. Through all of that, though, yes, any kind of early starting mana is a great accelerant for your composition. It means you're going to get that early preliminary cast faster, and that can be the difference maker.
Oh, my goodness. On the other side, we just saw when they're scouting that somebody has a Z2 already. So
oh
that is quite terrifying for tempo in this lobby. Now, Stellar facing Drowned God on the other side here, who is running this Misfortune on the other side, also has the Soraka augment as well.
Another thing that was buffed, I think that went from 15 to 20 mana on this patch. So as a result, that means it's going to be even easier for this Misfortune to get subsequent cast off. Usually, she's one of those units where you need to have at least one or two items, you know, the Sojin and the Jewel Gauntlet, in order to really get some work done. I think this Soraka might be enough to help her out.
I don't know. It seems like it, but the Zac Blobs are going to be able to do it while the dummy tanks it up. Fantastic.
Listen. That was a real life. That was a taunt right there.
That was.
The dummy's like, hey, you talking to me? And then all of a sudden, what's going to be going on here? Sorry, you hear. Again, this is what's so great about a LAN. You get to hear all of these players interacting with each other. It's a much different experience than what we can kind of get used to in these solitary remote environments.
I mean, usually I'm used to sitting in my room staring at like 3 screens with stats and player cards and all these different information in front of me. But now I'm just looking in front of me. I see Spicy Appies yelling about Zac. I don't know why.
Hey, I mean, I can give a pretty good guess. We're seeing one for Stellar right now. And generally, I agree. Super Size is a phenomenal augment. I already gave the rundown of it a little while ago, so I won't bore everyone once more. Kodo, by the way, continuing down for this Viego, actually hit the Viego carry. As a result, that's going to be, again, a pretty nice commit in a board where it seems like everyone is trying to go towards that Gadgeteam line.
Yeah, this Gadgeteam line is very, very contested, but we do have a Viego being found for Kodo with, I believe that's Partners in Crime, which is just absolutely excellent for this comp.
Yeah, just again, like Viego carry can be absolutely scary. You're still going to need some itemization. We're still going to need a little bit more of those levels in order to get that 2-star Viego really popping. But even then, you already have a lot of extra power using the cybernetic shell. So close. You always get excited when you want to see those the Voidlings get like a little bit of eke out there. It doesn't always work, though. But with that fight, though, that's a 6 win streak for Minhee going into the Wolf round. That's an impressive display of economic power.
That was an incredible win for Stellar, winning those last 2 rounds like by 1 unit or by the blobs alone. So absolutely clutching those out there, able to continue to keep their econ super high.
Yeah, Cypher, we're going to switch over to their perspective. See how they've been piloting this underground. They have went for the Belveth augment. That gives them those extra Voidlings. That's great for that additional stall. Still, not what we usually see. Belveth has never really been able to shake this mentality of, oh, this is just a discount Samira. Why am I running this unit?
Yeah.
However, the extra stall from the augment and the fact that you are still looking for a powerful cash out from underground could help tip some scales.
Yeah, but these items are not it. You see nothing slammed very quickly. Didn't get at all what they would probably handpick for themselves whatsoever. Really wanted a bow to put onto that Belveth, but not able to find one. And so this Belveth one will just continue to sit there as they're continuing to get their underground higher and higher.
Yeah, and that's actually one of the important things, too, where we were talking about this a little before the broadcast began, where we saw Underground retooled a little while ago to have this new trait breakpoint system with 3, 4, 5, 6. We didn't see the cash outs being appropriately nerfed really until now. So I feel like now that we're running for Underground, even though it is harder to hit those higher level non-nerfed cash outs, it still is more possible and feasible than it was previously.
Yeah, and I do want to call out that Pazanka on the other side has BIS, best in slot Viego items. Those are absolutely terrifying with that augment as well, with Oxforce Crown. This is going to be absolutely terrifying once they can hit 2-star.
The one thing that's missing, though, is a little bit of healing. Yes, Gunblade has been nerfed a tiny little bit. And yes, Oxforce is going to do Oxforce things, as we all know. You can still end up in some weird scenarios as the game gets later that you can't necessarily rely on that second of invulnerability.
Yeah, gonna need to get that extra HP from 2-star here as soon as possible. Minhee will take a loss, and Mega Baseman now down at 16 HP as we head into our last augment choice. He needs to be very careful and hoping that they can turn this augment choice into something very meaningful.
And yeah, they also have an underground cash out waiting in the wings too. We'll have to see what they're able to do in order to keep things going.
Yeah.
But we are going to be switching over to Drown God as well, who's found themselves that Aphelios.
Found an Aphelios, but with this Soraka comp, now switching the items over there, I believe that Aphelios will just be an item holder for now.
I mean, I'm curious to see which way it goes up as well. I believe that is Red Gun that's being slotted in. In more of a supportive capacity, maybe we could see something more like the original Gravitum. That was the original dominant gun that we saw for Aphelios in the beginning of this set. We'll have to see exactly which way this competition goes, because I feel like there's just a bit of confusion, perhaps on my end, perhaps on Appy's. I can't quite tell. Everyone's turning heads to see what's going on. I think Drown God needs a bigger sign of what's going to be going on here. I'm not sure if the shop's given it to them just yet.
Yeah, they're continuing to remain flexible. Being 76 HP is great for them, able to continue to play flexibly as much as possible with super flexible augments as well. So obviously mana's good for any unit. So this Soraka being slotted in will be good regardless. We'll be able to take a round win here against Pazanka, able to take out that Viego early. So this will be huge for them to continue to keep that HP high and continue to stay flexible.
Yeah, Pazanka still has a lot of one-star units, and including that Viego. So we are going to need to see some of these big changes to keep things going. 43 HP. You still got time to hit. You still have a little bit of the economy to do so. Clock's ticking.
Clock is ticking, and Poppin is now on a win streak as well, heading into this solid mid to late game. So this will be extremely important. I'm curious to see what they have. Oh, this is the guy with the Z2.
That is absolutely insane. That is, again, another one of these units that can make use of the Last Whisper that has instead turned into the Obsidian Cleaver. Zed is absolutely insane, and this feels like a really nice send-off for him, as he is going to be one of these forecasts that's going to be removed at the mid-set.
Yeah, I'm sad to see him go, but, you know, he's caused enough trouble to my back line, so he can go.
You know how it is, but this is still going to be one of those scenarios where you're running this earlier Zed without any of that hacker stuff. But this is the thing I want to talk about when we were scouting around. There is actually going to be a mecha emblem on that Annie. Give me real set free flashbacks right now from all of that, though.
I mean, he's going to absolutely get to 5 mech here with 5 Gadgetines. So this set will be absolutely terrifying. But you know what is more terrifying? This Zed that absolutely ran through this board.
Yeah, and Bossos isn't looking too hot right now. 35 HP, taking a few losses. Yes, we talk about Gadgetine having so much of this power behind it. However, it seems like they're just having some trouble hitting, or this lobby just might be a little bit stronger thanks to that Gadgetine contest.
Yeah, and this last carousel will be extremely important. Able to complete some of their final items that they need. Able to find maybe some of those 5 costs that they need. Pazanka picking up that Fiddlesticks very quickly. Able to slot that into their board, hopefully, and make them spike a little bit harder.
Yeah, Fiddlesticks is just such a great general unit to put in. A lot of people like to go for that backline style, say, hey, let's try to get me as much of that AP as possible. But really, you throw them in the front line, very early bit of CC. It's amazing use.
It sure is. CC damage, I mean, what could be better?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. And,
I mean, what could be better?
I don't know. Let's see. A nice summer's day, perhaps? Would you enjoy that?
I would enjoy that.
It's quite cold for you in Cleveland, so I'd imagine it'd be.
You know what is really good, though?
Yeah.
A TFT LAN. This is
fantastic.
fantastic.
That's fantastic.
I am thoroughly enjoying this, watching this, seeing the energy, watching some people rage when they get things they don't want, watch people just cheer when they get things they do want. But we're on board with this super spicy one. Not spicy appies, but this is bossoskills here with the Gadgetine board.
And we do get a chance to see a little bit of what might be going wrong for bossoskills right now. Like we said, a lot of players are going for these Gadgetines. As a result, we only have a Zoe 1 right now for Bosso. Granted, this is around what you would kind of hope to see for it. You have a blue buff and Morel. That's going to be great for chewing through some of these front lines while you have your set in the front line just stalling for as long as possible. But set also still only 1 star. You have Bosso at this point trying to hold on to their economy so they can make a deeper roll to try to find it and eventually get to 8 as well to get the 5 Gadgetine, 5 Mech Exodia.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be absolutely fantastic when they can get there. I believe they're econing up here now to level after the neutral round, but they have nearly best in slot items on all of their units. That Zoe has excellent items. This set, as you see with the BT and the Titan's Resolve, is just not dying. It's continuing to heal up and do more and more damage throughout the round and will hand Pazanka a loss, who also found one of their best in slot augments as well, being that Battle Mage here for the Viego.
Yeah, I do have to call out really quickly, though, Mega Bassman is going to be the first player eliminated of this for this game. Excuse me, I don't want to go too far back. We got a lot of TFT to play today. But that is still going to be that a few of these players can rest a bit easier, go for some of that additional pointing, and try to get their lead going early.
Yeah, very quickly, a little bit about the format of today. We will be playing 3 games before we have any kind of cut down. So we will be seeing all of these players playing in different lobbies throughout these first 3 games.
Yeah, lots of time to, again, feel out the lobbies, try to figure out who your biggest competition is, and hopefully beat them down before they're able to make it any further. And yeah, we just keep watching players run around and scout to the best of their ability.
Yeah, and these rounds, especially at the end of stage 4 at 4-6, is going to be extremely important. These wins are excellent. If you can take these wins to keep that HP high, able to maybe even get some of those streaks here to continue to ramp up that gold, get to level 8, get to level 9 for some players, and then roll down for the units that they need.
Yeah, again, I just keep watching this set. It's going to be hard to overcome in some of these scenarios, but a lot of players haven't found this. You see, we talk about how Belveth can grief. Sometimes Belveth just puts on the IQ hat and does absolutely crazy jukes like that.
My Belveth would never, man.
Your
just
Belveth would never.
Straight into the back line every time. Feels bad, man.
Hey, I mean, I get you. I get you.
But heading into this neutral round, able to find these emblems, or not the emblems, what are they called? The armories?
Yes.
Is that what they call them now?
You got it, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
the armories. To get some of those hand-picked items that they need. We did find
well, the item anvils, I suppose.
Item anvil, that's what they're called.
Yeah, but you know, the item anvil opens an armory, so I don't want to correct you too hard.
Yeah.
You're halfway there.
It was half. It was pretty good. But able to find some of those crucial items that they need to finish out some of their comps. We did see a 2-star Zoe finally come in there for Bosso as we head over now to Stellar's board, who is continuing to not really commit to any kind of late game carry.
What are you talking about? There's 1 Warmogs on the Zac right now. There's a second Warmogs on the bench. I'm seeing a late game carry right there.
Oh, you're just talking about the big blob guy.
I'm just saying go all in on the Zac.
I mean, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, really quickly, Jana was picked up. Unfortunately, I was too busy memeing, and I missed what the weather was, so hopefully we can get a quick update there at some point. But this is going to be generally some of these final decisions that players are making as really, I think, a lot of these final boards being solidified.
Yeah, now able to slot in 3 Aegis. Obviously, StellarMinhee being the person that knows the state of this lobby, there's so many people playing Gadge teams, so this is going to be extremely important to keep the Aegis. But this Zed will go onto the back line, and they fixed that. So he's no longer Zephyring himself onto a Zephyr target, but he does grief himself because now that Zed walks into the front line and absolutely just gets annihilated.
Yeah, that is a little bit unfortunate. I wouldn't say annihilated just now. Okay, now I would say annihilated, just to be sure. But yeah, no, I definitely agree. And that's usually why you have a lot more decision-making when you're running Zephyr with any kind of backline access unit. You want to make sure that you're not necessarily Zephyring the carry. You want the assassin to kill that as quickly as possible. Instead, you want to kill take any of the support they may have out of the game for a little while.
Yeah, and we did see Poppin taking a loss here for the first time in a while. We have Pazonka at probably 1 life unless they take a 1-unit loss here in stage 5. So we will be seeing this lobby get extremely close here coming down to the wire at the end of this match.
That's a very big Zac for only being a Zac 1.
It sure is.
The players are right. There are a lot of players that just have random Zacs splashed in. There was 2 on that one board. I think we just zoomed by really quickly. So, yeah, no, there is going to be difficult for, say, Stellar to find this Zac, but also they have the HP at their disposal to wait for a few other players to get eliminated and take their Zacs. Yeah,
and we will see this fight here. Pazonka at 10 HP on the other side. Did find Viego too, does have all of these Oxforce units on the board, so will be able to clutch out a win here. The LeBlanc did get carried to the back line by that Hackerim, but is now getting targeted, but Viego able to now reset and reset more and more to continue to ramp up, to continue to get resets. Will it be able to clutch it out? It will drop down here. No, not quite. This Viego's doing its best, but the Zac does take it out. The real carry, as you did call out. But the rest of the units are still alive and well, but the Archangels did ramp up here for the LeBlanc, and it won't be enough. This is going to come down the wire. The Zac blobs have not spawned yet. The Zoe is still alive, so this Zoe will continue to do work as the Zac continues to tank up. Will it be enough? This is going to come down to the wire. I think the Oxforce will have it, so Pazonka will take a win here versus Minhee.
And that was the thing I was talking about, boy. When you don't have healing on that Viego, when you get into these later game fights, it's just not going to be enough. And the other thing I really wanted to focus in on there, the fact that you were able to move that LeBlanc into the backline, got a clean lane of access onto the Viego as a result as well. There just was very little that comp can do.
Yeah, very good positioning there from Pazonka. Excited to see them continue to win, and now we're on board with them. Oh, there it is, the 5-mech, 5-Gadge team board. We're scouting around here, looking at these possible matchups, seeing if they can pull off a positioning diff here, see if they can make it work. The Viego now in the corner, hoping this will clutch it out versus this Ghost board from bossoskills.
Yeah, this Ghost also tells a chilling story, however, as it's still going to be a set 1. Hasn't quite found that 2-star carry just yet.
Yeah, did find this Nunu, though. That is absolutely excellent.
Sorry, look at that back line.
Wow.
It's gone.
It is. What back line? I've never even saw it. This Viego absolutely deleted it. So this Viego will run over this board unless this Nunu has something to say about it.
Yeah, there's a lot of defenses here, and we could see Viego run into the same problem that Pazanka's board did in that last fight, where it can be difficult to get those final executes, at least more so than you think, because, again, Zach is incredibly HP heavy. You have a lot of other Ox forces that can disrupt things, too. So as a result, unless you are getting, again, that first early squishy attack that we were talking about, you can run to a few different danger spots.
Yeah, we do have to say goodbye to Kodo, who did drop out there in 7th place. Drowned God now in danger of dropping out as well. This last carousel, able to get some shrouds, I believe that Pazanka did pick up here as well. So that will be absolutely excellent for them, able to swing at least this fight and hoping that they can swing a couple more fights in their favor. Yeah,
and Cypher, we were talking about how they're maybe missing a bit of direction. It seems like they found it. A pretty strong 2-star Zach with great itemization here. They also have, again, that Soraka combo that we were talking about previously. We'll go more into details there actually immediately as production has my back. Thank you so much. From all that, though, it can be a pretty amazing thing to see.
I mean, this is just one of those boards where he's playing just what he hit.
Yeah.
Right? He's got a bunch of 2-stars, but they don't really have any synergies in common.
Yeah, and that can be one of the important things in TFT, because you can look at the left side of the screen and go, ooh, I want as many of these verticals to light up as possible. I just like seeing the trait icons, and that makes me feel happy and gives me serotonin. But if you can find these different ways that units are able to interact with each other and really shine, you can still build some really strong parts that are bigger than the sum of the...
Yeah, and Pazanka able to have an excellent shroud here to start this match. So that maybe that'll make a difference, but this board is on a win streak for a reason. Super tank in the front line with this Zach, and a lot of damage, AP damage from the back line coming through. But the Viego is dunking, doing a lot of executes, but I think that is going to be the end of the road for Pazanka. If, the Zach Blobs will clutch this up, but the amount of healing coming through is going to not be enough. Pazanka will drop out here in 6th place at least.
Yeah, the Care Bear scares too much. Drown God actually goes down also to 0, loses in the tiebreaker. That's going to mean that we're going to have our top 4 of Poppin, Basso in the Cypher, and Stellar. What an amazing first lobby.
What an amazing first lobby. It is so fun in here. Everyone walking around after they get executed, now scouting IRL, just watching the game over people's shoulders. IRL backseating, so fun to watch.
And I mean, again, this is that mentality thing I had to talk about. You still got another 2 games at least of TFT to play. You may have been eliminated early. That may be a little bit hard to swallow. However, you got a good environment going. You can see what other players are doing. You can try to get the read on their strategies. Maybe in game 2 and 3, you can take advantage of that.
And this will be an extremely important fight for both of these players in the Cypher versus Minhee. The big Zephyr, but this Nunu now going onto the back line. Nunu 2 being so important here for this comp. And also the LeBlanc getting Hackerim to the back line for Minhee just absolutely gets annihilated by this Soraka. So that was not the play, at least in this matchup. I'm sure that they were looking around at different matchups thinking, oh, this would be good for this one. But this one, no.
I'm sorry, I just hear, I think I'm going to describe a screech from Joe Bookmark. I'm not quite sure. That was Kevin?
That was Ramkev, yeah.
Oh, my God. Okay. Sorry, I mean, there's so many big personalities here. Sometimes it just becomes a ball of energy that you just have to really handle.
Yeah, Joe Bookmark is now standing on his chair, so there's that.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's a lot happening.
At some point, we need to commentate what the players are actually physically doing as opposed to what they're doing in the game, because that shows where the mental's at.
I mean, that's something never, ever done before, you know? We're just make us unique, right?
Yeah, hey.
Yeah, it's good.
Anyone can cast TFT. It's much harder to cast TFT players.
That is, wow. Put that on a quote.
Yeah, I mean, hey, like, listen, just give me...
I want a T-shirt.
Get me my Liquipedia. That's the quote that shows up the first time you look at it.
Bo Protroid.
2023.
Yes, good. That's so good.
Let's see what's in this full item armory. After perhaps a little bit of rolling here, again, really strong parts in this board. We can talk about a few more details as goes in, but I think a few more pieces are being looked for right now.
I think it's something notable to call out. He's been rolling on 8 this whole time and is finding so many 5 costs. What in the world?
4% is better than it used to be. What can I say?
I guess so. It just 4%. It just changed, I guess. I don't know. But now we'll pop this item armory. Now picking a spark for some of that Magic Resist Shred.
And I like that a lot because that's going to go exactly onto the Nunu. That's going to be excellent to first both buff up the Nunu power, give Nunu a little bit extra spell shred for his own ability, but also get it going for the rest of their board, which is a lot of magic damage dominant. Bosso, though, finally found that set 2.
Yeah, and now this board is win streaking. Exactly what we expected to happen. This Bel'Veth, though, is onto the backline, onto the Zoe, who continue to stall for a really long time, but Ascension will come in. Will it be able to beat this mech set? I'm not sure it will be as it continues to heal up. Will not get another cast off. Will be able to one-shot this Soraka or not. It will not, but it will take down them right after with the auto attack after, so we'll take that big win here. No one dropping out.
And Bosso just showing why they show up in all the tournaments they come to. Yeah. Yes, they were in a bit of a rough spot early on. However, they swung it around. They were able to hit, and through that, they're now in a pretty dominant streaking position.
And we'll be facing Minhee's board with this other super tank on the other side with the Zac. So this will be extremely important for these placements, especially if Minhee can steal a win here to possibly get into that 3rd place, to possibly even get that top 2 spot.
They do have that slight HP advantage over Poppin, so even in the worst case scenario, we could see where they're able to finish in 3rd. Poppin goes down to 4th, but again, I don't want to write any obituaries just yet. Let's see how this fight goes.
Yeah, it does have a good shroud there onto the Zac and the LeBlanc. The LeBlanc now taking down the back line on the left side, but none of the priority units. So this will be a concern, but Leona is on to the super tank, so we'll continue to survive and heal up with this Bloodthirster on there well, but the set will now take it out. But LeBlanc is still alive on the other side versus the Zoe on the bottom right. So will this set be able to absolutely punch its way through this fight? The Zoe doing so much damage to so many different units while this set just stalls. So this will be the end of StellarMinhee, but will it be more than Poppin, who did drop out there in 4th? I believe that Minhee will take a 3rd.
-16 is a really low number, and -11 is just a bit better, so that's going to be a 3rd place finish for Stellar. Let me tell you, I love this board because, again, we've seen a few different variations of the Zoe. This is the best case scenario for itemization you can get for in this context, just because you're able to get that burn. It's able to go through any of those other high health targets that set might otherwise struggle with.
And these are some of the highest ranked players we have in this tournament, and that is no surprise to us. They're both performing so well here in Game 1, and I'm excited to see this fight.
Yeah, and to be clear, Bosso isn't even at their final form just yet. They are still at 63 gold. They haven't reached level 9 yet. They could look to see if they can get a legendary splash, but let's see what's going on here.
The Gadgeteen Shroud being absolutely important here. The Nunu, though, going into the priority targets is very important as well. But will this set be able to survive? Will this Zoe continue to ramp up? The Nunu, though, might take it down because of the Spark, but not quite. So now healing up because of the Gunblade is going to be extremely important. It's healing that front line as well, but the Zoe does go down. So this set will take another cast, but will it delete the back line?
These are
maybe,
big.
but these Nunu.
Look at these
Nunu versus Nunu.
Let's go!
Which Nunu is going to win? I'm not so sure.
Which ball is bigger? Which big ball?
One of them has D-Claw, so I think that one will win. So bossoskills will take the loss versus in the Cypher. Will it be a positioning diff?
Oh my goodness, like what the heck?
Oh, that was so fun,
listen,
man.
Listen, if we can only cast units like Singe, Nunu, whatever, that just run around the board, give me a whole trade of that in 9, please.
Yeah. Shout out to my friend Crazy Pete, who I can just hear in my mind. Like,
yeah,
Nunu! You know.
Nunu!
Yeah, that was fantastic. Nunu versus
my
Nunu.
Goodness.
Oh, so good. And I can't wait for so many more moments like that to happen today.
I want to see them in this game still. Don't get me wrong. Like, we're going through all this list. Like, honestly, sell your board. You know what I'm saying?
Sell it all. Just go for Nunu.
Nunu versus Nunu. Just, really go deep.
Yeah, man. Wow.
At this point, really quickly, a lot of lobbies have finished, so a lot of players are just moving around trying to get a few different scouts. In the Cypher, though, trying to make similar decisions, going around, trying to see if they can fake out any kind of griefing coming on with that Shroud.
Bosso did hit a 2-star Leona, so that will be huge. The Shroud will go on to the Talia, so that Talia will not cast for a very long time, but Soraka will ramp up a ton. Leona doing a ton of damage, deleting that Echo, but the set is still alive and well. This one is not looking as close as the other one. The Nunu, though, does go... Nope, still alive there for two Nunus happening. That's not even close. This Zoe is now absolutely firing away. The set is taking negative damage. Unless this Soraka can randomly pop off and kill this set, this will be over. No, we might see one more fight.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I was talking about, though. bossoskills wasn't at their final form in that very last close fight. However, they just spent all their gold. They hit level 9. They put in an extra unit. Goodbye, Bel'Veth. It was so nice to see you. Come back again some other time.
Yeah, Aegis is going to be extremely important here with all of the magic damage that this Zoe is doing throughout the entire fight. So any bit of MR will matter. And that is an extremely important slot in here.
And also, I really need to call out that cell a little bit more, just because, again, it is a big deal to sell your hero augment. It's something that players seem to debate quite a bit because, again, there's a lot of additional power that goes in. However, there are cases where it might just be better to go for another unit that just can get you more stuff out. I really want to see how this is going to go for Cypher.
Yeah, the Shroud does not really hit priority targets whatsoever, but this Leona absolutely destroying this frontline tank of the Zac. So that will be absolutely devastating for in the Cypher here, as bossoskills will continue to ramp up this damage.
Though.
This Leona is now deleted this new. So this fight is over. This is the most lopsided fight we've seen so far, and it looks like bossoskills will be taking the first lobby of TC3.
Yeah, what can I say? New York comes back in with a force. They won Tactician's Crown 2. They won Tactician's Crown 3. Bosso also wants a taste of the action for themselves. Welcome to TC3.
I mean, and I can't say that I'm surprised, right? bossoskills last weekend went third at mid-set with probably the hardest tournament of all of TFT. And now comes in here, takes a first in the first lobby. I mean, I'm not surprised.
I mean, if you want a statement game, I think that was certainly one.
Yeah, it absolutely was. And I want to give a shout out to some of our other players in the Cypher, just really playing flexibly. It was very impressive to watch, never really committing to a comp per se, but just what they hit.
Yeah, just definitely. If you are able to run TFT where you're running all those individual parts and really getting a strong thing together, being able to identify these more obscure synergies, not really necessarily innate for the traits, you are able to go pretty far. But I want to highlight Stellar, who, again, third place, that's a stellar starting performance just generally. From there as well, they are still new to the scene. This is their first land most certainly. I want to see them more, and I think that's what we're set up to do.
Yeah, I'm sure we will see more of them, hoping that they can make it on further and further throughout the day so we can see them in our final lobbies as well. But Poppin Jung doing an excellent showing there, being I mean, I don't want to call them out, but being one of the lower rated people in this lobby. So just absolutely performing against some of these high top end challenger players.
And that's a big thing to know too, because we have seen the binds go up a little bit since previous Tactician's Crowns. I think someone who would have been 5th seed at TC1 is now like 22nd or 23rd seed here at TC3. So really the skill level that we're seeing keeps building tournament after tournament, and it's amazing to sort of go through.
I mean, everyone just wants to join, right? This is such a fun environment. People walking around laughing, having fun, scouting IRL. I mean, what's not to love?
Hey, I mean, there is a ton. Another thing that I personally love quite a bit, by the way, is eggs. Remember, when we are between all of these games, you can head into the Tri-State Tactics Discord server. There is a giveaway channel. Keep an eye out. We're going to make some giveaways of some Little Legends eggs.
I mean, who doesn't want eggs?
I mean, I do. You do. You won the first giveaway.
I did win the first giveaway.
Completely ruined my plans.
Sorry, I just want eggs, I guess.
I can't make it obvious when I rig things. You know that, right?
I mean, maybe I'll get something good out of it. I haven't cashed it in yet. We'll see.
We'll see. But with that, I think we are going to be taking a quick break. When we come back, it's going to be Game 2 of Tactician's Crown 3.